Action.
Hi, we're back. So we're going to ask some more questions to Grandma. So Grandma, it's been, what, 3 years since Grandpa's passed?
In April, it will be 3 years.
Okay, so I want to talk about Grandpa. I want you to tell me a lot about him. So what is the one thing you miss the most about Grandpa?
That he's not with me, but he's always with me. He's not here in person, but he's still with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel any difference that he's not. He got on the plane when I come up here with me and everything. I feel him always with me. So I have no regrets of anything that we ever did. And the hardest part about it, I get to thinking about it, because in the later life, he died the way he wanted to be. And that was with his dignity. We talked about that if something happened, and I said, if something happens to you, I want you to live in a rest home. And he said, I don't want to live there. I said, well, you can't take care of yourself. And he knew that. And so, whatever's happening, all those decisions was made, his decisions was made at the last. And I knew your dad kept saying, I didn't know Granddad was that sick, that his dad was that sick. And I said, but I did. When I saw him laying behind the car, I knew that if I got him on to the hospital, I knew it wouldn't be. I knew that. And thank God you called at noon that day and talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So tell me about, I want to hear in your words, like what Grandpa did in the Army. He's a double Purple Heart, Silver Star, or Bronze Star.
One Bronze Star.
One Bronze Star. So tell me, because he never really told me much about what he did, and I figure you probably know about what happened to him and how he, what he did in the war.
Well, the first one that he got, the house fell in on him. They bombed this house and it fell all over him. He spent 2 days in the hospital. In fact, he was covered
Now
up.
wait, now he was in a house that was surrounded by Germans, right? And they shot the house down on him?
Mm-hmm. And covered him up, and they dug him out and put him in the hospital for a couple of days. It's the way that I understood it.
Yeah.
And the other, I don't know how and whereabouts he was, because he was over the communication, and he carried a pistol, and they run the telephone lines, and it was a crank type, and got up on the front lines, and he had 7 or 8 runners that run with him across that way. And he never talked about it much, except his runners one time went through the minefield, and he had gone through there after them or before, I don't know, sometime, and they had their feet blown off or something, but he never did.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that.
So, but the second Purple Heart, he got shot, right?
He got shot right here through the arm and had the scar right on his arm. But he always laughed and he never told anyone, except that I'd say somebody asked him how he got it. He said, "Oh, I got it open in a K-ration can." Laughing.
So he never told anybody how he really got hurt?
Not until he got a lot older. And I would have to more or less pull it out of him to...
So he didn't tell you?
No, he wouldn't talk. The only thing that he ever told me, he had one German soldier beg him to shoot him. And I don't know any more than that. Because I wouldn't question anymore. He said he was laying dying, and he said, please shoot me, please shoot me. And I never asked any more questions. And he never, that was a conversation was ended. Now, I don't know any more than that.
So what was it like when you went to the Army reunions that you guys used to go to quite a
Well,
bit?
the very first one that we went to, we had just checked into the hotel. Is it too long? And here come a knock on the door, and he was one of your granddad's runners.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that kind of, it's kind of crazy that Grandpa was a communications guy with telephone.
And here
that's,
you're in the
I
band,
know, and
and
that's
how
what
you
I
got started.
I know. That's kind of funny.
So things go around.
But he was always pretty proud. Was he always? Did you consider? Did he think his service? I mean, was he proud of his service that he did, or was he?
He was real proud of it, but he never talked about it
Mhm.
much. No, he never bragged. These are things your granddad didn't do. I wanted him to go on at a time he could have gotten, and went to college and got his degree and been an engineer.
Mhm.
But I said, the college is real closed, and we can make it by for you to go to college. And he could have gone just about 6 months or more. He said, no, I don't need it. But he self-taught himself at the highway department to the little crank and this and crank and on to the little, learned trigonometry and all those things. He taught himself that, working. And he didn't want to go on and get it.
So why do you think Grandpa labeled everything and was as meticulous as he was?
I don't know. I teased him about it.
Well, we all did.
Yes. He labeled everything because he was raised not to have anything. And that's the way that I looked at it. And I think he did too. The one big argument that we had on anything was somebody tore the emblem off the Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already gone to bed, and he said, oh, you had that car parked down there at that library. And they took that cab, and he called the police. And I said, oh my goodness, there's nothing to it. We got insurance on the car. He got real angry at me. And it took a long time for me to understand, and he didn't understand either. I said, why does it make any difference? You haven't got any death in your family, and, or anything like this. And finally, I understood, after we retired, some lady was talking over there, our daughter was talking, how somebody had come in and robbed their house and invaded their personal, your property. And when they said this to him, I said, that's it, I bet. So I mentioned to him, he said, yeah, I guess that's it. He couldn't figure it out why that he got angry. And it's because if somebody invades your private, your privacy.
So tell me about Grandpa's family then. I mean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier that they didn't come from means like you did, I guess.
No. His grandmother and grandfather helped them buy the things they had, helped raise him. That's on the Powell side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the others were his mother and dad married when she was 15.
So what did his mom and dad do for a living?
Sharecropping and
Sharecropping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there in Mount Pleasant?
No,
Or
they were in
outside?
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Oklahoma and Arkansas. He was born in DeQueen, Arkansas.
Oh, that's right.
And Gene was born in Oklahoma, and then they came back and sharecropped.
Mm-hmm.
So they never had, and they didn't have a car. All his high school year until he graduated, he walked to town and everything at night and everything else. He never had a car.
Yeah.
And so he came up the hard way.
So he came up with less than what you did,
Oh,
I
yes.
guess.
And I had nothing. We had nothing.
Well, right, but he had less than nothing.
Yeah. That makes a big difference in how you.
Yeah. So I might have had something to do with it, I guess.
She says 2 minutes.
No.
I know.
No, you used 10 more minutes. You have 5 more.
Okay. Well, I tell you, we'll finish this one right here,
Okay.
and we'll go on to the next one. So Grace, why don't you shut this down?